Hey guys, and welcome to Red Devils United. I'm John, and it's a big match day today versus PSG, so I'm glad you could join me. If you are joining live, as always, like, subscribe, and share with your friends so we can grow a bigger community. As I mentioned, it's a big game today, and it's one. Yes, we need to win. I mean, if not solely because we can get out of the group, top the group, get out and we can rest players in the next game against RB Leipzig. So it is important that we do win today's game. But it is not a must win. You know, a draw is a great result against PSG. Yes, we've beaten them the last two times we played them. Yes, we had some luck with regards to the penalty in the first time we played them, which was in the Champions League a couple of years ago. And then the last time this season, we played them off the park. You know, we were brilliant and they were really poor, and they've continued to have a run of poor form. So yes, but let's not forget these are last year's runners up. They are a brilliant team, and I wouldn't be surprised if we got beaten today. I'd be annoyed. You know, but it would not nearly be as infuriating as it was when we were losing 2-0 to Southampton at the weekend. But it's a big game, and one I really, really hope we can play with confidence and try and get a win. If you are watching live, I'll be opening the chat window. Please let me know what your thoughts are on the team selection. If the team's been announced, I don't know. I'm going to go through what I think the selection should be, but please just mention in the comments what the selection is. We'll read out the chats. You know, there's no paid for chats on the channel. We'll just read them out. We'll have a bit of banter back and forth, and hopefully then, you know, we'll leave getting ready to enjoy the game. So today what we're going to look at is the team. I'm going to go through again as I normally do in a pre-match game. I want to go through who I think should be playing today and who will be playing today, which are generally two different things. So without further ado, I'm going to take a look at the team selection. So, this is who I believe we should field today. I mean, Henderson is in goal only because De Gea got injured. He hurt his knee. He's fit. He's travelled with the team. But, you know, Henderson came on against Southampton. He was assured. He didn't have a lot to do, which is, you know, for the most part, mostly what United keepers do. They generally don't have much to do, except for one or two incidences in the game. But he looked assured. He held the ball well. He released players quickly. And I would like to see him given a chance, given a run. In fairness, Ole might go with De Gea. He has stayed very loyal to De Gea. De Gea is still, in my opinion, a world-class keeper and the best keeper at United. But I would like to see Henderson given a game. But he may go with De Gea. So let's just we'll just throw De Gea in at the start and look at the 11. So a back four: Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, and Telles. Now we're looking at a back four, but let's not forget in the last game against PSG, Ole put out a back five, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again. I would like to see us play the way we did against Southampton. I mean, let's not forget in that game, brutal goal to concede on a corner. Don't see PSG doing that. Wonderful free kick, which nobody is stopping. You know, so other than that, though, you know, United were by far the better team in that first half. It was only after Southampton scored 2 goals, United looked like they were falling apart. It could have been, not that they had the chances, but I was afraid it would go 3-0 and then it was just game over. But United came out in that second half last weekend, and Bruno Fernandes was brilliant, Van der Beek was brilliant, but the player I thought should have started against Southampton, who, if you watch my pre-game video, I was talking up and talking about Cavani, and then he was on the bench, so I was upset to see him on the bench in that game, but he came on, got an assist for Bruno, worked his ass off, chasing back, going wide, showing for the ball, scoring 2 goals. Brilliant performance. And I want to see Cavani starting today. So again, Matic is sitting in front of the back four. Other than against Southampton, I have Pogba up here because I want to see Pogba play. I do think that he's not going to play Pogba. He's not going to sacrifice that second defensive midfielder, and we're likely to see something more along the lines of this in today's game, which is not a bad team. Now, Van der Beek and Bruno played brilliant. Fred is actually playing really well. Other than the free kick he gave away for the goal, he's had a really good run of games. And I think we've only lost one in I don't know how many games that he's played in. He is underrated. He does give away the odd bad pass. He turns over possession more than I would like. But he has been vital in a lot of goals where he scored, where he's won the ball back and he set us off on an attack. And he's starting to do really, really well. And I think he has to start in today's game. If you disagree, let me know in the chat. We got Matic sitting in front of the back four. Bruno is Bruno. We hope he plays well. We hope he keeps up his form. He's going to need to work. He's going to need a lot of work. In the last game we played against PSG, we had a back five. We also had Fred and McTominay, and they were running their hole off, marking whether it was Neymar, whether it was Mbappe. We've got Herrera was injured the last game. He's going to be up against United. United players are going to be up against Herrera in this game. I think PSG will be more assured. As much as their form is kind of being lacking in recent weeks, PSG, I think they'll be up for today's game, and they'll want to win it, because if they lose today, they're in the Europa League, and that'd be devastating for PSG, devastating for their players, devastating for their revenue streams. They are going to be up for it massively today, and I think Matic might have his work cut out for him. But this is a very, very attacking lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like Van der Beek come out and McTominay going in. I wouldn't be surprised if he did something like that. I don't want him to. I really don't want him to. I want to see, Van der Beek in here, whether it's Bruno up top or whether it's Van der Beek up top. I do want to see Van der Beek and Bruno playing together with Matic and Fred. That'd be great. Tellez, brilliant again. Needs to keep going forward. Needs to keep crossing it in. Great delivery of the ball. Add something to our left flank that we haven't had in a while. I think Luke Shaw is going to have a massive problem getting back into this team. Aaron Wan-Bissaka needs to contribute more going forward, but all eyes are going to be on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Can he keep Mbappe quiet? Can he keep Neymar quiet? They will drift out to this side. We need to keep them quiet. And Maguire will start today. But in the last game against PSG, we had Tuanzebe play, and he was absolutely brilliant. And this is why I want to see a team like this, but there's a very, very, very good chance we're actually going to see a team more like this. I would not be surprised if that's the team he puts out. A 5-1-2-2. And with that, it could be a flat 2 in midfield. Sorry about that. It could be a flat 2 in midfield with, Van der Beek, Bruno ahead. These guys showing the width up and down the flank. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's the team that we're looking at for today. I don't want to see that, although a back five worked brilliantly last game, so what do I know? Back five was brilliant. The performance against PSG was brilliant. We're at home this time, and we should have confidence. We beat Everton. We beat Istanbul. We had an unbelievable comeback from 2-0 down against Southampton. And so, like you say, Southampton, but they're a good side. They're an informed team so far this season. A win against United would have put them in the top 4. But we had a great win against them. Chelsea dropped points at the weekend. Tottenham dropped points at the weekend. Liverpool dropped points at the weekend. Everton dropped points at the weekend. Leicester dropped points at the weekend. They all dropped points at the weekend, and United got 3 points from a brilliant comeback. The confidence in the team should be flying. So they need to settle into the game. They need to be aggressive, and then they need to be confident and composed on the ball, much like Van der Beek is throughout the game, and create chances for Cavani and Rashford. Rashford has scored winning goals against PSG on a number of occasions. He should hit the ground running in this game. But it's a very, very important match. That's the teams that I think I want to see play, which I showed a moment ago. And this is more like the team I think that will play. Now again, it could look a little more like this, but you know, that's the team I think we'll see today. Very, very hard to tell. There's so many players in this United team that could start. They've so much talent. I mean, we've got Martial on the bench. We've got Pogba on the bench. We've got Greenwood on the bench. We've got McTominay on the bench. We've got Fred on the bench. I mean, there's so many players here that are available that we could play. So it's very hard to pick a starting 11. It's very hard to pick a formation. So I'm very interested to see what it is. And again, if you are live watching, thank you for joining us live. I really appreciate it and love to see what the team is. We do have some comments, so I'm just going to open the chat box now before we move on to other parts. So if we open the chat, we can see we are joined live by Connor Nolan. Great supporter, always on the channel, always commenting. Love his interactions, really helpful for some back and forth. A Chelsea fan nonetheless, but all are welcome here because a bit of banter is good fun, and you know, a lot of respect. As much as slagging each other off is. So, Dwayne Morgan, no Pogba. So, Dwayne saying no Pogba, which is fine. I presume he's on the bench. Dwayne, please let me know if he's on the bench. Fred, Tom, so McTominay, I presume, and Bruno. No Donny. So, Donny van der Beek on the bench as well. What does this guy have to do? I mean, he was brilliant against Istanbul. He was brilliant against Southampton. He's vital. If you want a player who can hold on to the ball, if you want a player who can pass it in tight situations, who can play under pressure, who's composed, who doesn't turn over possession, then there's no one better than Donny van der Beek. There's literally nobody better. Bruno, Pogba, Matic, Fred, McTominay, none of them are as good or as composed on the ball as Donny. He does not lose possession that often. I cannot believe he's not starting. So, Donny van der Beek, gone. Right, that is a kick in the nuts. McTominay on, Fred on. I did say this could happen. Right, I said that could happen. So we lose Twinzaby. We have Lindelof. We have Maguire. We've got a back four maybe. And if I'm wrong, Dwayne, you can correct me. Okay, but we have Aaron Wan-Bissaka. We've Matic, McTominay. Bruno, I presume, is playing. Fred is in there. So it does look like we're going to be in a diamond like this. Now maybe Matic isn't even playing. If Dwayne can just confirm that with me, that would be good to know. You know, Pogba and Donny van der Beek most likely on the bench. But Dwayne, let me know if Matic is playing. Or are we going with a front three? Is it Fred and McTominay sitting back with Bruno and then a front three of Rashford, Cavani and Martial? If that's the case, I actually don't mind that. You know, I don't mind if Fred and McTominay are sitting deeper with Bruno ahead of them and a front three of Cavani, Rashford and Martial. That is also an extremely attacking lineup. Yeah, so really interested to see what that is. But, you know, that does look good. That looks like a good team. And the fact that we have Donny van der Beek and Pogba and Greenwood all on the bench shows the strength, and Matic shows the strength and depth that's there should we need it. And Greenwood, Pogba, Van der Beek can all be match winners against the tired legs of PSG if we make them run enough. So very interested. We have so Dwayne is saying, so first of all, right, Pogba and Donny's on the bench. Great, I'm glad. Thanks, Dwayne. Then Dwayne, Lingard is on the bench. Why is Lingard taking up a spot on the bench? I don't care if you can use 5 subs. I don't care if you can use 25 subs. Lingard should not be anywhere near this. Talk about trying to shop a player for January. Now is not the time. Win this game. Get Lingard starting against RB Leipzig when we're already qualified. Okay? Get Lingard starting then. If this guy's feet touch the pitch on this game, I will go nuts. And you have Donny van der Beek on the bench. You have Pogba on the bench. You have Greenwood on the bench. You have Matic on the bench. Lingard should not be within 20 miles of this. Lingard's even touching the grass of this pitch would be more insulting than Daniel James touching the grass of this pitch. And I don't hate anybody more than I hate Daniel James. Alright? Deco, can back me up on that because he hates him nearly as much as I do. It's Rashford, Martial, Cavani. Dwayne, thanks very much for confirming it. Thanks for joining live. Love to see you on the channel. Always full of wisdom. An Arsenal fan, which is unfortunate at the moment with their form. Very unfortunate. We can discuss a few things in a moment regarding the clash of heads with David Luiz and Jimenez. Jimenez had a fractured skull. Very unfortunate for both players. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of Arsenal didn't do what they should have done with the whole concussion thing. I mean, they followed protocol. Maybe protocol is not at a level it should be, like in rugby, like in other teams. But you know, when they bring in concussion subs, you really need football teams to not take advantage of that and not go down holding your head in the 78th or 85th minute and then bring on a concussion sub who can actually change the game. I mean, you've got to watch and be careful with how that's used. But yeah, really hope. I think everybody who follows Red Devils United, which is very few, we've 100 and odd subscribers, so I'm hoping to grow that. But I think all Red Devils, which there's millions of us, I think we all wish Jimenez the best and hope he's actually back playing soon enough. But Dwayne says it's Rashford, Martial and Cavani, so great front three. I'm happy with that. Fred and McTominay sitting back. They did a great job marshalling Neymar and tracking back and helping out with Mbappe when they would cut inside. I do think Mbappe will tear Lindelof a new one for speed. I think it would be wise to put Twinzabi in there. You know, maybe he has. Maybe he hasn't. I think it's unlikely that he has, but I think it would be smart if he did. My phone is dead, so I can't actually check what the back four looks like. I imagine it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Telles, but if it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Twinzabi, Maguire and Telles, I would actually be happier because I think the pace of Neymar, the skill of Neymar, and absolutely the pace of Mbappe will tear Lindelof to shreds. I like Lindelof. He's composed on the ball. He's a good centre-half. I mean, he's not a world-class centre-half, but he's a good centre-half. You know, for me, he is one of the better ones in the whole Premier League. He's very underrated because of the odd mistake. But against Mbappe's pace, it would not be a pretty sight. I imagine it'll be very dangerous. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is going to have to pull double duty in that game. Alex McMahon is joining us today. Man Tractor. He's talking about Conor Nolan, whose nickname is Tractor. I believe maybe the boys were doing a match last night. They were back training with the lockdowns in Ireland being somewhat lifted. Football teams are back training a little bit. So great to hear for the boys and anybody playing 11-a-side, 5-a-side football. I myself kind of retired recently from the 11-a-side, and yeah, you miss it. So, you know, for anybody who's in their 20s and their teens who had to give up football and training for the last few months, I'd say it's probably hell. Getting back to the match, there's a few things I want to look at in this game. Big game, Man United versus PSG, Champions League match, always important. One of the big things, though, that we want to look at is this lad here, Cavani. So he was instrumental. He was phenomenal in Man United's comeback. Not just the 2 goals, not just the assist, but the way he tracks back, the way he tries to win the ball when United aren't in possession. The way he occupies the centre halves of the opposition, and he runs for the ball and he shows for the ball. There's so much to his game at 33. And again, people say 33. This lad is nearly the same age as Suarez. And nobody talks about Suarez being too old. This guy is nearly the same age as Vardy, who, in my opinion, in the right team, is one of the best strikers in the league. In the right team. You know, Cavani now, at that age of Suarez, at that age of Vardy, seems like he still has an awful lot to contribute. Because the amount of running he does is actually more than a lot of strikers in their 20s. So, and then you could see his quality with regards to the goals, his aggression. He's so good. Want to talk briefly, I'm not going to take up much time, but the Instagram post that Cavani sent. So one thing we need to dispel is it is absolutely nothing like what Suarez did with Evra, right? There's a massive difference between tweeting in Latin Spanish, Southern America, Negrito, to a friend, as it's a term of endearment. So yes, maybe an educational piece can be provided to Cavani to show the connotations that it has within the English translation or within the English language itself. I also think a training piece needs to be done with the entire English media and all English people in general, because your culture is not the only culture in the world. And there's no reason why every single person that comes to your country needs to bend to your whim. Okay? His comment was a term of endearment to a friend. How that differs from Suarez? Well, Suarez says, I kicked you because you're black in Spanish. And he said it to an opponent in an aggressive manner. Context is important, especially when you're talking about Spanish and Southern American languages. The context in which you say something, the inflection in which you say it, and the manner in which you say it, and who it is you say it to. So saying what Suarez said to an opponent angrily in the heat of the moment and in the context of I kicked you because, that is all racist. That is all extremely racist, and more important, it's derogatory. Okay, it's insulting. Okay, because you can say many, many words, but just because they're associated to race doesn't make them racist. You know, they have to be insults, really, to be racist. They have to be derogatory to be racist. You know, just saying someone is black is not racist. That's just saying something. It's like me saying, hey, Deco, you're white. It's not racist. It's just a statement of fact. You know, saying something derogatory, saying something insulting, saying something that puts somebody down, that is horribly racist and should be completely wiped out of the game and should not be allowed in any shape or form. Cavani didn't do that. He's talking to a friend who is also white. The two of them. He's talking to his friend. He's talking in a language that is his own language. And he's talking in a context where the term he used is a term of endearment in his language. He took it down 3 hours later. He wasn't aware of what it meant in English or the ramifications it would have, because he didn't mean it in a bad way, which is perfectly understandable. Any talk of a 3-game ban or a 1-game ban or an 8-game ban, like the idiot Troy Deeney is suggesting, is absolutely ludicrous. And all talk of anything you say on social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, that if it offends somebody, it's wrong, that's also stupid. Gary Neville said that, and Gary Neville, I'm a Man United fan, I love Gary Neville, and I think he's a brilliant pundit, and I think he's very intelligent with a lot of things he says and does. But the idea that you cannot say anything for fear or offending anybody is absolutely ludicrous. Okay, I don't care if I offend somebody. Now, if I offend a person who I'm directing my language at, then that's maybe wrong. But if I say something to person A and person S, X, and Y get offended by it, who are not even in the vicinity of me, they're not even in the same country as me, but they get offended by it, I don't care if they're offended by it. I'm not here to bend to their sensibilities. Okay, some people are offended by fucking everything these days. Somebody will be offended by the fact I said the word fucking. Should that mean I shouldn't say it? No. I'll say whatever the fuck I want. Should you insult somebody? No. Should you insult somebody using race? Absolutely not. But the idea that anything you say, if it offends somebody, is therefore automatically wrong, is the most moronic, stupid, ridiculous thing Gary Neville has and probably will ever say, and he should go back and change on that, because it's fucking stupid, and I don't care if you're offended by that. So moving off that, let's talk about Cavani in a manner in which we need. Cavani is absolutely vital in today's game. He's a brilliant player. He had a brilliant performance against Southampton. He was great against Istanbul. And if he can continue that, he should be starting for us in the next Premier League game again. It doesn't matter if he scores or doesn't score today. It doesn't matter if we win or lose today. Cavani, he needs consistent games under him. And I think as far as the 3 strikers we have, Martial, Rashford and Greenwood, Cavani is better than all 3 in his position. So because of that, let him play there. Let them learn from him. And they can play the wider roles, which they are also brilliant at as well. So that's just my 2 cents in relation to Cavani. Let us know what you think. But you will struggle to change my mind on that. Guys, we will be wrapping it up soon. The match will be kicking off soon. I want to thank everybody for joining us live. We are still on. Anybody that is watching live, please chat. You know, what do you think the result's going to be? Can we get some predictions off anybody watching live? I am going to go with a pessimistic 1-1. 1-1. As much as I'd love a 2-0, a 2-1, a 3-0, a 7-0, a 10-0 United. I think a realistic, somewhat pessimistic 1-1. And if I got that result, I'd actually be quite happy. So show it in your chat. Let us know what you think. Important things that need to happen in today's game. Well, the big thing is we need to marshal Neymar and Mbappe. We need to be aggressive but not foul and get booked early. We need to just be winning the ball as much as possible and in their face as much as possible. We need to make sure that we don't get bookings, we don't get a player sent off, we don't score an OG, we don't put ourselves on the back foot within the first 10 minutes of this game. We need to keep this game close and tight, and we need to do that for as long as we can, not to nick a win at the end, but to just frustrate PSG and then overrun them. Get the ball up to the front three as much as possible. And that's the thing. Number 3, the third most important thing we need to do is actually use our front three. We don't want them being isolated. We don't want Bruno, Fred, McTominay all sitting on the lips of our centre halves. We want them pushed up a bit and not isolating the front three, but actually intermingling with them, 1-2 and passing. So we need to get the ball up to Bruno, get it to Martial, get it to Rashford, obviously get it to Cavani, and start getting crosses in from Telles. Have Bruno hitting the box late, maybe scoring from deep like he did the other week against, I think it was Everton. So just things like that. We need to utilise the front three and not have them isolated too much. Another big thing we need is a massive performance from Fred and McTominay. They are two holding midfielders that Dwayne, who's in the chat, who's always said are good, great defensive midfield pairing. Neither are good enough to do the job on their own, but together they are really, really good. It's unfortunate that they take up that extra position of having two defensive midfielders when I'd really like to have a Van der Beek on with Bruno and only have one spectacular world-class defensive midfielder, but we don't have that. We have these two boys, and we're going to need a world-class performance from them. Wingbacks. Hugely important to have the wingbacks in doing a great job. Getting forward, we need to get them to get crosses in. Aaron Wan-Bissaka cuts back way too much. He needs to get the ball and cross it in. He doesn't have to run to the byline and cross it. Just stop it and cross it first time. Lift your head and cross it. Too often he tucks back and he'll give it to Bruno or someone else. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka needs to cross it more. Maybe learn from Telles, who has actually shown what a fullback should be doing in an offensive sense. So we need good work from our fullbacks, getting forward and getting crosses in. I think the bench is going to be really important today. I think we have Van der Beek on the bench, we have Pogba on the bench, we have Greenwood on the bench, we have Matic on the bench. We've got players like Twinzabi and Matic, maybe not Twinzabi, I'm not sure if he's actually travelled, but we've got Matic, we've got players who we can bring on that can help maintain a lead. But if we're chasing the game, or if we're drawing and we're going for a win late on, we've got Pogba, we've got Greenwood, we've got Van der Beek, who can come on, add composure and work against tired legs and get us that win. So that's going to be really important. The big 7, the Man United 7, a win. The most important thing today is to get 3 points, qualify for the knockout stages so that we can rest players in the next game of the Champions League and focus on the Premier League. Because let's not forget, as I'd mentioned before in today's video, Chelsea dropped points, Tottenham dropped points, Liverpool dropped points, Everton dropped points, Leicester dropped points, Arsenal dropped points, United got 3 points. United now have a game in hand. If we win it, we're within 2 points of top position Spurs. Okay, currently we're only 5 points off top. If we win our game in hand, we're level on third, we're level with third, and we're only 2 points off top of the league. And we're starting to hit a bit of form and a bit of consistency. So we want to put this game to bed, win it, put it to bed, so we can actually focus on this December run of league games and try to get more and more points under our belt and see if we cannot climb to the top of the table before New Year. That's really what I want. Let's just have a quick look, see if the chat window is there. We have Dwayne saying, Moyes Keane 2-0 PSG. I presume you're saying PSG are going to win 2-0, which is perfectly fine. It's understandable. Herrera's back. Their form is not great, but they have Neymar and Mbappe, and any team that has Neymar and Mbappe is capable of winning a game 1 or 2-0. And they will be out for revenge. They've lost the last 2 against United. They will be out for revenge. I'm not sure though what you mean by Moise Kean. Maybe it's a comment on something that I mentioned earlier. Or else you're saying that there's a Moise Kean and PSG that's going to score. Let us know what you mean there, Dwayne. But yeah, 2-0 PSG. Thanks for the prediction. I'm going 1-1. Tractor, Alex, anyone else that's joined us live, let us know if you have any predictions on today's game. We are just past the 30-minute mark, guys. It's 15 minutes to kick off. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to say thanks very much for everybody who joined live. Please do like, subscribe, and do share the video. Any friends you have that are football supporters, that whether they're United supporters or not, but obviously if you're a United supporter, please join, subscribe to the channel. We have pre-match videos and post-match videos every game day, and we've got beer and chats where we have an hour video with just me and the chat, and we discuss all the weekend's football over a beer, and we just have a bit of back and forth on the chat. No paid for chats, just we read out all the, I'll read out all the comments, and we can discuss things. You can have comments back and forth. It's a small channel with a small subscriber base. We want to build it up a little bit, have fun as the season goes on, and just no matter who you support, build a community of football fans that can have innocent, respectful banter with each other, and slag each other off and not get offended and not pray for somebody to be banned from the channel because they used something that offended you, which is just utter bollocks. Oh my god, Moise Kean is going to score the 2. Moise Kean is going to score the 2 in a team that has Di Maria, Neymar and Mbappe. That is some prediction. What odds would you get on that? What odds would you get on that? That is mental. You'd probably get like 100 to 1 on that. What would Moise Kean even be for first goal scorer when you have Cavani, Rashford, Martial, Bruno, and Mbappe, Neymar, and Di Maria? I mean, what would Moise Kean even be as a first goal scorer? There's a question. But yeah, guys, like and share the channel, subscribe to the channel, and help build that community. I want to thank everybody again for joining live. Really appreciate it. We're going to go watch the match, but after the game today, post-match reaction. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully we're happy. Hopefully we've got the win, and we will only find out in 2 hours. Join me 10 o'clock for a post-match reaction. See you later, guys.
Welcome to Old Trafford.
It's the better of our dreams, the power and the glory of the Shepherd and will sing. The Busby boys will take the pitch, marching at their feet as the Reds go marching on, on, on. Glory, glory, Man United. Glory, glory, Man United. Glory, glory, Man United. As the Reds go marching on.
This shirt belongs to you. Always has, always will.
Chevrolet, proud supporter of Manchester United.